flying etiquette for the 21st century means different things to different people. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be when you got on a plane when I was a kid, and I'm 58, so 50 years ago. That's a long time. That was when planes were one giant prop, and you had a guy went contact. That was when I was a kid. But so you dressed up. Mom used to pack a little bag of snacks because you had only in first class did you get food and stuff. It was a special thing. It costs a lot of money. In fact, it cost more probably to fly, even in real money, in real dollars. It probably cost more to fly in the 1970s than it does today. But that aside, have you ever had to sit next to that larger person? And I used to weigh 360 pounds. So I've had this happen to me, and I had to buy a second seat as a result. Okay. Southwest Airlines had a deal for years that if you were a plus size person, you wanted to avoid embarrassment, you could buy the second seat next to you in advance. So you had to pay for it. But if you didn't want to pay for it, you could show up early, introduce yourself at the counter, and they would try to set aside 2 seats on the plane and they would do it for free. Now that's gone. If you are a plus size person and you do not fit into the standard size seats, you must buy a second seat or you're not going to be able to get on the plane. So Erik, the travel guy Hastings from the awesome travel website, erikthetravelguy.com. That's Erik with a K, and host of the PBS and YouTube travel series Beyond Your Backyard is on this morning to talk about this. And Erik, I'm kind of shocked that there were any airlines still giving a second seat for free.
Well, again, this is a good morning. It's much ado about nothing here, Ken. I don't have a problem with this policy at all. And I still weigh 300 pounds. No problem. That's it.
You're not 300, but
We're
either
done.
way.
We're done,
So you're
right? I
looking
mean,
at video, by the way. I want to point out really fast, Erik, the video that we're seeing. This is a woman who posts intentionally that she says that the airlines discriminate against overweight people, and she boasts of her size and the fact that the seats should be larger. But the reality is, mechanically, planes are only, and I'm not making fun. Mechanically, planes are only a certain size. It is what it is. You can't, otherwise, the plane would only be for the one person.
that's correct. And you know what? I mean, the headline here, of course, is that airplane seats should always be bigger. Of course. I should make more money. You should make more money, Ken. There's a lot of shoulds in the world that sometimes just aren't the case. I mean, look, yes, we would like to have more comfortable airline seats, but Southwest Airlines does not have an obligation to anyone other than all of its passengers to sit as many people on that plane as humanly possible. And why is that? Is it because Southwest Airlines, like every other airline, are just greedy, money grubbing uh, companies? Well, yes, I suppose, but they're also trying to keep the prices down for all of us. And here's a little dirty secret I'm sure you're aware of, Ken. Airlines do not like empty planes. They don't like empty seats. The next time you're on an airline, next time you're on a flight, I want you to sit in your seat and look around at those other
Mhm.
seats on that flight. Say you're going down to, I don't care, Miami for the weekend. There you are. That's probably going to be a full flight. Revenue management is a big deal to the airlines. But look around the rest of those seats, and I want you to see them as rotting fruit. Because you know what? That seat on that flight on that day is never going to exist again. And the airlines will do whatever it takes within reason to sell and put somebody in those seats. So while
Which is
Southwest,
why
well, yeah,
Which
sorry,
is
go
why I don't
ahead.
mean to step on you, Erik. I don't mean to step on you, but that's why also the industry wide will fly pilots from other and crew from other airlines because they figure in the long haul, we got to get these people from point A to point B, whether it's on our planes or another company's planes, right? So the whole industry helps each other so that
That's
those
right.
seats don't remain empty, correct? So we're going
But
to have them anyway. They'll move our people, we'll move their people.
right, I'm just mad as a hornet this morning because you brought this story up. We were talking about it because, again, the airlines are not public utilities. You do not have a right to fly on an airplane, regardless of your size, your whatever your socioeconomic status, it's not, you don't have to fly. You can take the train, you can take the bus, you can drive, you can walk, you can take a boat. Okay, it's not. I can't tell you how many times. Look, the airlines do it to themselves. Don't get me wrong. They make a lot of dumb decisions, but we also love to beat up on the airlines. But you
Mhm.
know who really takes the brunt of a lot of these complaints and a lot of these issues? It's the flight crew. It's the actual flight attendants. And by flight crew, I mean the flight attendants themselves. We bring on more than just our baggage onto those airplanes. Not your viewers, of course, Ken. I mean, your viewers are model flyers, I'm sure. But I'm telling you, how many times have you seen lots of emotional baggage being brought on to these airplanes? And we do it to ourselves, and then
100%.
we just throw it off on the flight crew and make them deal with us. It's
By the
really
way,
a thing.
Eric, if I may, my husband tends to be grumpy a lot because of his hours. He gets up
Yeah,
at 11:30 at night and works till 10 in the morning. So during normal daylight hours, he's like walking around as a zombie because he works in
right.
the industry, as you know. When we get on planes, he always used to get on like this. And I used to tell him, and now he does this intentionally because I told him, as you walk on, the following will change your entire flight experience. You look at each flight attendant dead in the eye and you say, "Hey, how was your flight up? We're gonna have good weather going down. What do you think?" That's all it takes. Attention, and but you got to look them right in the eye. Not, not. How's it going? Respect. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You'll get them coming over. Hey, you want an extra snack? You want? It is amazing that ounce of respect.
I'm
Ounce. That's
telling you,
all it takes. Changes the
it's
whole
all
flight
it takes.
experience.
I know we have limited time. I will tell you, a lot of people ask me what I personally do. They do this. Yeah. How can I have a better flight? How can I? And I always say, look, by the time you get on the airplane, your work to have a fantastic flight, or at least increase the chances of having a fantastic flight, begin about a year prior to you taking that flight. And that may sound a little crazy, but about 6 to 8 months out, I always think to myself, gee, I'm going to go to this thing. I'm going to save another 30%. However much I think that flight's going to cost, I just save another 30%. That way, when it's time to book that flight, if it's a little more expensive than I wanted it to be, I have the funds available. I do that. I have my documents in order. I've got a real ID. I carry my passport. I have all of my, I have global entry, which includes TSA pre-check. I realize it's a charge, but look, having your documents in hand and ready to go also keeps you from. I make my seat selection. I play by the airline's rules. I download their app. I'm a member of their frequent flyer program. There's little things that you can do. I choose the right flight for me. I like early morning flights. Ken, I know Chris is not a big fan because he gets up in the middle of the night. I don't mind getting up at
Hmm.
3 o'clock in the morning because I like to
Me
get
too.
where I'm going. I also, just like everywhere else, LaGuardia by about 10 o'clock in the morning is already backed up. Why? Small airport, lots of traffic. So I like to get out. So I do early morning flight. The way I pack has everything to do with my own sanity. Is it a nonstop flight? A lot of people don't know when you're on a regional jet, even your carry on has to be put under the plane. Don't let it stress you out. You have to get it curbside. You remember how to do it. So there's so
Hmm.
many things that you can do long before you even get on the plane to keep it together.
This is why you are Eric the Travel Guy Hastings. And by the way, when you're in Orlando, stop by the Speakeasy Murder Dinner Theater and check that out. It's a fabulous night of murder, mystery, and dinner. That's why it's called the Murder Mystery Dinner Theater.
Very,
It's awesome.
you're very kind.
Check it
Thank
out.
you, sir.
Well, you are awesome. Eric the Travel Guy Hastings from the travel website, ericthetravelguy.com. That is Eric with a K and host of the PBS and YouTube travel series Beyond Your Backyard. I love you like a brother from another mother, my friend. Thanks for coming on this
Likewise.
morning, Eric. You
Likewise.
got
Thank
it.
you, sir.